Hello everybody and welcome to Wine Library TV. I'm your host Gary Vaynerchuk, and today we have a very awesome episode based on Sauternes wines. You know, my level is a little bit down today, probably, maybe not because we didn't hit the 1,000 goal, and I'm kind of angry that I'm still doing the show, but I want to support the people that did leave a comment. So maybe not the normal energy that we're gonna go with or usually come by, but still a good show, I hope. Really excited about this category. We're going to be talking about Sauternes, which is, dessert wine from Bordeaux that really is so sought after, and really amazing wines come from the region. We're going to focus very specially on one producer, and I think this is a very fun show. It's the first time we're having the same wine in 3 different vintages. Before we get into that, I've got a bunch of things that I'm going to need you to link them up. There's 3 things. One, we have the anniversary pack on March 4th. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope we have a good time with that. We will totally do that on March 4th. So if you haven't picked up one yet, please do. It's a secret pack, 4 wines. We'll taste along. A lot of interaction this year, hopefully on the Thunder Show. So I know you've been asking for that. So Mott, link that up. Also, I'm going to be going to Burns Steakhouse February 27th. That Wednesday. I know there's a link going on in there. Tampa Steve, you're in charge. Mott, link that up. And then also a lot of action very quickly on the Third Thursday Thirsty Crew. That's very cool. Join or start your own group. It's the best way. When you bring a bottle and 6 other people bring a bottle, you're tasting 7 different wines every 3rd Thursday. Mott, link that up. Chateau De Fargues is one of the really great producers of Sauternes in the world. Now, Sauternes is made up of Sauvignon Blanc and Semillon, and also a little Muscadel in the region. But those are really the 2 predominant grapes. They produce some of the most interesting and sought-after dessert wines in the world. If you've never had a Sauternes, I highly recommend you seek one out. They're just tremendous wines. They have enormous flavor. They're great dessert wines, just an absolute perfect way to end a meal with your loved one or your family, because that's how we want to roll. So just a really great opportunity for you to go out and try these wines. Except they're pricey, and that's really the holdback, the threshold. $100, $105, $60, expensive wines. We've got the 1990, which was a perfect vintage in Sauternes. The 2001, which was a mild and wet kind of winter, and then kind of got very wet in the spring, so it's kind of an interesting vintage. And the 2003, I was talking about the kangaroo vintage of Bordeaux, or of France, of Europe, really, because it was so hot in 2003, record heat waves. So I'm excited about trying all 3. We've also got a little bit of cheese, a Roquefort Vieux Berger, which is really great stuff, and a Fourme d'Ambert, which is a cow's milk cheese, and I'm excited about trying those because those are really 2 classic pairings with Sauternes, so we'll be doing that in a minute. A couple of other fun facts: 4,500 acres are planted in this region. Produced about 8 to 10 producers really dominating. Of course, you all know Chateau de Cam, and that's my lead way. A lot of times, Chateau de Fargues is recognized as de Cam's baby brother, or poor man's de Cam, as they've always liked to call it. You'll notice the crown that you see on de Cam. The Lure Solis family has owned Chateau de Fargues long before even Chateau de Cam was made. 300 years before Chateau de Cam hit the scene, de Fargues was really considered the top producer of Sauternes in the world. And so really, really interesting stuff. To see how the new baby brother came along 300 years later and really stole the thunder, for lack of a better word, from this guy. Now, what's really interesting is the guy really in charge of de Fargues these days is Alexander Le Solis, and he was at de Cam for many years and really was the engine at some level that really brought de Cam to this whole nother grand level. And then, if you've ever read the book Noble Rot, the family kind of sold it. Kind of weird, some weird stuff went down, and they no longer own de Cam, so Alexander has come back and really focused, ironclad focused, on making great wine at de Fargues, and I'm excited to see where he's going to take this over the next several years. Botrytis is introduced into these wines. They're picked, and they really, really are special. So this is a very special episode. I'm super excited about it, and let's get into it. Chateau De Fargues, 1990 Sauternes, $100 US. 94 points, Wine Spectator. Very interesting year because 1990 was like the perfect year. The weather was absolutely perfect. The shortest picking time ever. They started the harvest in September, late September, the 18th, I believe. Finished on October 10th. So very short picking season, the shortest in their history, and really some of the best wine they ever made. A lot of people still consider the 90 really one of their flagship wines. I think one thing you'll find very interesting, and this happens in Sauternes a lot, is you get a color change. And as Sauternes gets older, it gets more and more brown. Goes to orange, starts off like this. This is what you see on the shelves. But then it goes to brown and then really orange, amber along the way. Very interesting to see the color of Sauternes change through the years. Great orange, amber, kind of apricot-y kind of color. Let's give this wine a smell. You like that one, Matt? You're smiling cheek to cheek. Great petrol action. There's some really interesting dry apricots coming on. Very strong orange blossoms come to mind as I smell this wine. There's also a little bit of funkiness towards the end, though. That petrol alcohol-y kind of component does get a little funky funk on the end there. Let's give it a whirl. Very pretty apricot component towards the end. Finishes almost with like a burnt penny is what comes to mind. I don't know how to really explain that. You ever seen a penny on fire, Mott?
No.
Might have to do that in tomorrow's show when we're in a little bit of a better mood. Really cute apricots, though. I mean, they're adorable. You want to pet them. Burnt copper, butterscotch, caramel. You really feel like you want to pour this over some ice cream. Now with the Roquefort Vieux Berger, again, this is a $20 a pound cheese, so this is pretty impressive Roquefort. Sheep's milk, blue cheese, extremely powerful. Great focus and complexity, beautiful creaminess on this. Wow, and the crunchiness from the blue cheese. This is very pretty. Gorgeous. You know, it's really tough not to love older Sauternes from one of the best vintages of all time, 1990, with an unreal cheese. I gotta be honest with you, I'm not sure if the cheese isn't overshadowing the wine. This wine is exceptional, extraordinary, and very much youthful. I can see putting this wine away for another 20 or 30 years. One of the finer dessert wines. It's really funny. A lot of times De Fargues matches up and even beats out Decem in a lot of blind Sauternes tastings that I go to. So it's really a very interesting brand. I'm excited we're doing this. I'm going to concur with the Wine Spectator. I'm going to go 93 plus points. They're 94. I think this is a beautiful dessert wine. I think it's expensive, and it's a special bottle kind of thing. You buy it once in a while or once a year, or a case if you're balling and you want to put in your cellar. But a very solid effort and something that I don't see anybody being sad about. Let's move on. 2001 Chateau De Fargues, Le Solis, that's the family name right there. Again, this was a very mild and wet winter year, 2001. Very wet in the spring, but this is a very classic wine. I'm going to tell you why. There's a very serious saying in Bordeaux that August makes the wine. It's like the fourth quarter of a football game, or actually like the last 2 minutes of a basketball game is even a better analogy. It was a difficult growing season with the wet winter and very wet spring, but it dominated in August. It was perfect. Great weather. Got a little cool in September. August made this wine, and 2001 Fargues scored 94 to 96 points. Robert Parker, it rolls in at 105 bones. It is extremely high profile amongst big Sauternes heads, the Botrytis Bites, as I like to call them. A lot of people really admire and love this wine, so I've never had it, so I'm really excited about having it. This has classic color, just golden bright yellow. I mean, just looks absolutely beautiful. Wow, that's gorgeous stuff. Get me up here, baby. Get me up here. Let's make you move around a little bit. I mean, just really some beautiful, beautiful color. As good as it gets. Just, is it Hulk Hogan Golden Locks color? I mean, it's that beautiful. Let's give it a sniffy sniff. Oh, I'm warming up a little bit. Now, this is coming across with much more honey. Almost like honey meets chlorine. Or is that what you put in a pool? Chlorine? This wine smells exactly like honey being thrown into a pool. Like, imagine you slathered yourself all in honey and jumped into the pool and just jumped right out and, you know, you smell. That's exactly what this smells like. Very intriguing chlorine component on the nose, coming across very heavy on the honey. Just beautiful. Hints of apricots, but not as much as the last one. Very curious. Let's see where this goes. Outrageous weight on the mid palate. Honeycomb cereal comes to mind. Really, really, really heavy on the pear component. I'm loving like the orange peel aspect to this wine. Very youthful. A young version, a young Sauternes. Not ready. It's going to get better from here. Solid acidity, but a little flabby in the mid palate, which concerns me a tad. Nice long finish, very bright star fruit on the finish, little hints of pineapple. I'm enjoying this wine. It's got big potential. Let's try the form. Now this is so much harder than the sheep's milk. This is the cow's milk, the form d'Ambert. Not as blue cheesy as the last one. Less sharp, very, very creamy. I like the firmness of it. Great texture. This is nice. It feels like this is like very powerful and really up my style. I love the razor sharp blue cheese aspect, but this is gorgeousness. Great weight, and I love the texture of it. It's, you know, I usually go for the really stinky blue cheese and the Roaring 40s. I turned you guys all on to not too long ago. This has more body to it. It's more of a piece. You can eat it by itself. Sauternes cheese is just where it's at. Very pretty. Really helps out on the pineapple and apricot front. Does this? Good stuff. Wow, the chlorine is so obvious. Very obvious. Very solid stuff. I'm going to go a little lower than Parker, though. I'm going to also score this 93 points like the last wine. I don't see the hoopla to go to that 94 to 96 level, but very solid stuff. Again, it's going to cost you a Benji, and that's a little bit of a problem. I mean, 100 bones is a lot of money. I would probably be more inclined to buy the first wine, just because where it's at in the maturation process. I'm not so sure I'm patient enough to put it away for 11 years and hope it tastes as good as the 90. So, even though I'm scoring them the same because they are very different, there's things I like about both, and everybody adores this 2001, I didn't think it completely knocked me out, so that's where I'm at with that. Chateau De Fargues 2003, $60 US, 93 points, Wine Spectator. Obviously, this was very, very hot vintage. Because of that, there was very heavy early flowering. Think of your flowers, same thing, you know, the grapes were budding and popping, and it was a very interesting year because they had a lot of fears. However, June and July and August, ripping hot. Big concerns, but September kind of helped them out. It was cool and allowed the wines to kind of get in, the grapes to get into themselves, and you know, let them kind of wrap themselves around the acidity and the high levels of sugar. A lot of people love this vintage. 93 points, Wine Spectator, 60 bones. Let's see what's going on here. Again, the lightest of the bunch on the yellow factor. Let's give this wine a smell. More similar to the 01, but none of that chlorine action that we expected, or that we got. This is more of a dandelion flower component, and much heavier on the lemon side than the last two. Let's give it a whirl. kill me. A little bit lighter, reminds me of a lot of late harvest Rieslings, or like, there's a lot of dessert wines from Washington State or from Hungary that this reminds me of, that are half the price of this wine. So that gives me a major concern. Yeah, I'm not super duper feeling it. I think it's a very solid Sauterne. It's got some good fruit. This is a very tricky vintage, and I think that they did a solid job. I'm far from super excited about this wine. I'm going to score this wine 90 points. I think it's a very solid bottle of Sauternes. I'm going to give it a pass with 3 Z's because it's 60 bones. I just think there's other ways to go about it. Overall, I'm very, excited that I got to taste all 3 of these wines. And I really loved the 1990, and I really think the 01 has big potential in it. I'm going to really tell a lot of people to stay clear of the 03, but at 100 bones, you're paying for what you're getting. But if you want great Sauterne, these are exceptional bottles. It's just, I wouldn't call them screaming values. Sauterne is a place that absolutely needs to be explored by every wine drinker. Expense account time, or dad's and mom's taking you out. You see it, maybe we'll do a little Sauterne. What's great about Sauternes is a lot of them come in half bottles, so you'll be able to pick these up at the $50 range for a half bottle, because, we usually don't finish all of our dessert wines. Also, if you're a big fan of foie gras, this is absolutely a must pairing in the world of wine and food. You cannot lose out on it. Keep in mind that Sauternes really can last 40 to 60 years. They're long-lasting dessert wines. And keep in mind that wine is supposed to be awesomely fun, so don't overthink them, and try to have them with friends and family, because that's where it really gets great. I'm really excited about this Third Thirsty Thursday concept. Please start a group. Bring people together is what it's all about, and really the biggest accomplishment of doing this Wine Library TV. Sorry about the mood today, just really thought we would get to the 1,000, not putting a lot out there, but I understand. I know everybody who says it's not about the number of comments, and listen, I got hundreds, maybe even 1,000 direct emails. If they put it into the comments, I'm in a better mood, and we definitely have it. I'm being silly about it? Of course I am. I love games. What can I tell you? But it doesn't change, it's who I am. I love it. I like the bustle and about games. So, the cheeses are outstanding. Mott, link up Justin's email. If you have any interest, we just got in some packing material to ship out cheeses. I would highly recommend the Roquefort Vieux Berger right here. It is really one of the best blue cheeses. I wouldn't put it up to the Roaring 40s that I loved, but I don't know. Actually, it's really good. Really good. Other than that, I'll see you tomorrow. Because you, with a little bit of me. Oh, question of the day. Question of the day, Mott. See? Just a weird. Question of the day. Do you like Sauterne? Because you, with a little bit of me, we're changing the wine world.